Good morning, gang. Happy Monday. Back to the grind again we go. So, and looking around here at the news and just whatever's going on, watching what's going on in Canada, watching what's going on in the States, et cetera, et cetera. Something that really bothers me and probably bothers you guys too is all this talk of, oh, we want to go back to normal. Okay. You know, so many people keep saying that. But face it, there is no going back to normal. And honestly, I don't think it's really a place we want to go back to anyway. It's just what we grew accustomed to. Now, every generation says their time, their childhood or whatever is the best time to grow up. I've said it many times. You know, Early millennials could even say it. The ones that were born in the late 80s, early 90s, maybe. They might have a leg to stand on a little bit there. But the millennials that were born later in their generation, and certainly Generation Z, should probably be renamed as the oikophobic generation. If you don't know what oikophobia is, it's the aversion to one's home environment. All right. You know, Gen Z and the later millennials seem to love to use the term boomer as an insult to all of us, to anybody that's older than them. Okay. God knows we've all been called xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic, Islamophobic, pick something, okay? Because that's all they've got is name calling, okay? Their generation has accomplished exactly nothing. And so all they want to do is rail against their predecessors who actually make a contribution to society. All right. Now, of course, this doesn't include every member of Gen Z or the millennials. No group can be specifically stereotyped as everybody. Okay. But y'all get what I mean. The overall majority of Gen Z for certain, and half to 2/3 of the millennial generation certainly fits the bill. Okay. You got to remember, this is the generation that brought us pronouns, gender identity, defund the police, increased racial tensions, pushing us towards socialism. That's what they want. All because they have not accomplished a damn thing. When the loudest voices in a generation, are the leaders, are people like AOC, Justin Bieber, Zendaya and Billie Eilish, a generation is doomed. Okay. It's as simple as that. Okay. But we're really at a paradox in the United States. The president is 79 years old. The Speaker of the House is 81. The Senate Majority Leader is 71. The Senate Minority Leader is 80. And hell, even the two potential frontrunners for the 2024 presidential election are 75 and 74, respectively. Yeah, Trump versus Hillary 2. Seems like a Rocky movie. We have a major chasm in leadership and direction in the country. Okay, you're either in your 70s or 80s, or you're in your 20s and 30s. Where the hell's my generation? Generation X. Those of us in our 40s and 50s. I'll tell you real simple. We're sitting on the sidelines. We're doing nothing. Okay. At one time, we were the ultimate rebellion generation. We were always self-sufficient, resourceful, and individualistic. That's what defined us. We took care of ourselves from an early age. We were the original latchkey kids. Mom and dad both went to work, and we came home from school, and had to fend for ourselves for 3 hours till mom and dad got home from work. Okay. We got jobs at a young age. We listened to music no one approved of. I mean, hell, there were congressional hearings to ban rock music. I mean, if anybody remembers all the crap with Tipper Gore, back then, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. But most of all, we were, and still are, proud to be American. Okay. We grew up in the Reagan era. We took part in the fall of communism. The Berlin Wall came down. The Soviet Union collapsed, primarily because of what was done between our generation and the generation before us. Okay, that was our legacy. We epitomized self-destiny. You got what you earned. Period. Okay, there were no handouts. You wanted something, you earned it. If you didn't, you didn't get it. Simple as that. So what happened? Well, we forgot our rebellious spirit. We became too individualistic. We became more concerned about our own lives than our own community's lives. And now we're paying the price. And it's time that stops. Okay. The last great revolution in the United States was 250 years ago, when a bunch of people who were rebels at heart, okay, said they weren't going to take it anymore. No Twisted Sister reference there, intended at least. But they actually fought back, overwhelming odds against them, and they won their freedom. It's time that happens again. Simple as this. As a group, all of us, the majority in our family, or people that we call family here around here, are all in the group I'm speaking of. About 60% of us are in our 40s and 50s. There's another 20% of us that are 60 plus, and then there's about 20% of the family that's millennials and Gen Z. They're the ones that actually give me hope for the future, that the country is not totally done for. Okay, that there's still some rational people in this country, in the younger generations, because they are the ones of childbearing age and that will keep the country going. So if we keep with this liberal lunacy, perpetuating, the country's done. All right. And the reason I say that is because pride is not something we pass along in our DNA, okay? You didn't give it to your kids biologically. You need to teach them. It's you that needs to do this. You certainly can't leave it up to the schools. You see all this all the time of schools are babysitters or whatever it is, and thank God so many of you guys homeschool. Because if you go into this, send your kids to public school, what are they getting taught? CRT, how to be a TikTok influencer. Ooh, whoopee, they're going out and getting degrees in video game playing, ethical hacking, brewery and distillation, rather than things like engineering or medical, certainly not getting useful skills like, electrician, plumbing, farming, anything like that. Where does that mean we're headed? With those kind of degrees, and this is going to be kind of funny, we're actually raising a generation, or have a generation and a half now, of useless eaters. Okay? We're the ones being accused of being useless eaters, but the ones that actually are the younger generation. Okay? They're the useless eaters in the truest sense of the word. They cannot, by any way, shape, or form, provide for themselves. I mean, hell, they go to Starbucks because they don't know how to make a cup of coffee at home. That's how bad it is, guys, really. All right. So where does this mean we're headed? We have a generation of people that want to do nothing but complain and want a free ride. This is the group of people that's going to succumb first in an SHTF situation because they have no concept on doing anything for themselves, okay? Unless we teach them. Now, I've seen in the news here anywhere between 30 and 60% of Canadians support the Freedom Convoy. That's scary because that means somewhere between 40 and 70% don't, okay? That means nearly half to 3/4 of the Canadians don't support freedom. Did you ever look at it that way? In about a week, a similar convoy is supposed to start here, right? Okay. Will it get support to the American people, or will we continue to be apathetic? Personally, I think the apathy is going to continue. I don't think anybody will stand up until nearly everything is lost. And then the response is going to be, what happened? Okay? When the apathetic Americans, which we've never been in history, but we have this entire two generations of it, goes, what do you mean Starbucks is closed? What do you mean there's no food at the grocery store? What do you mean I can't get money out of my bank? What do you mean I can't put gas in my car? Yada, yada, yada. What do you mean I don't have electricity in my house? Then they're going to go, what happened? Duh. I'll answer you very bluntly. You didn't care. You did nothing. All you wanted to do was bitch. Now you get to reap what you sowed. Okay. Again, elections have consequences. You voted for this, people. Every single person out there has some blame. And I know people are going to say, oh, I'm not, votes are fixed, and, it doesn't matter who votes, it matters who counts the votes and all that, nice one-liner crap. But this isn't a new thing. This didn't all start with Joe Biden, okay? This started decades ago, when we just started giving the politicians free rein to do whatever they want, and we just went, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. It's the old line of, first they came for the communists and I wasn't a communist. Then they came for the Jews and I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for the gypsies and I wasn't a gypsy. And then they came for me and there was no one to defend me. That's exactly what's going on, guys. Let me finish with something here real quick that was said in 1961, 60 years ago. It still holds true today, probably more than it did 60 years ago. Pinball out.
Our founding fathers here in this country brought about the only true revolution that has ever taken place in man's history. Every other revolution simply exchanged one set of rulers for another set of rulers. But only here did that little band of men so advance beyond their time that the world has never seen their like since, evolve the idea that you and I have within ourselves the God-given right and the ability to determine our own destiny. But freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.